Hi everyone, we're doing things just a little bit differently today. We are just doing sound. We wanted to kind of see how that would work for you. But we are starting chapter 11, section 1, and we are moving to Rome. Now, the big idea here is that Rome's location and government helped it become a major power in the ancient world. And you'll see over here by the end, or the height rather, of Rome's empire, this is the area that they controlled, okay? Now, this wolf here, her name is Lupa, and you'll see a little bit more about her and why she's important to this section soon. But hang tight, make sure you're taking good notes, and we'll be sure to talk about all this in class. The main idea is the geography of Italy made land travel difficult but helped the Romans prosper. Rome is the modern-day capital of Italy. Italy is a peninsula surrounded on three sides by water. It lies at the center of the Mediterranean basin. This location played a strategic and crucial role in the expansion of the early Roman Empire. 3/4 of the Italian peninsula is covered with mountains. Italy's two major mountain ranges are the Alps and the Apennines. Here's the Alps, here's the Apennines. Italy has warm, dry summers and mild, wet winters. This climate allows people to grow many crops. Italy has a large food supply. Okay, on your map, you will need to label Rome, the Tiber River, Alps, the Apennines, the Adriatic Sea, the Tyrrhenian Sea, the Ionian Sea. I probably didn't say one of those right, so please forgive me. Okay, on your map, here would be Rome, the Tiber River, Alps, Apennines, the Adriatic Sea, that's probably the one I'm messing up, the Tyrrhenian Sea, and the Ionian Sea. You can pause this and take the time to label this. You do need to make sure this is filled in because you will lose points on your video notes if it's not. Keep in mind that this is separate from the map activity that is in your packet on page 21. So it might be a good idea once you fill out this map to transfer some of that information to the map activity on page 21 to help you get that completed. All right, guys, so we want to work on this hot question now. And so a hot question is, there's the bell. You guys are getting out of school. So for a hot question, name a civilization that we have studied this year that has a similar geography to Italy. How did the geography of both civilizations impact the people who lived there? Okay, so now this is a two-part question. And let's see if I can work this out. I can. We have a two-part question here. How did the geography of the civilization, you got to name one first. Name a civilization, and then how did that geography of the both civilizations impact the people who live there? So your new civilization, right here, the one you choose, plus the geography of Italy. So this is at least I'd say 3-sentence answer, because you got to name a civilization that's similar to Italy, and then you've got to compare that civilization that you choose to Italy. Good luck. We look forward to seeing what you come up with. Okay, so the main idea number 2 that we're going to look at is ancient historians were very interested in Rome's legendary history. Now, it's legendary because we don't have anything that tells us for sure exactly how it started. So when you don't have anything for sure that's written down, then you get ideas from different people that will tell you what has happened. So the Romans believed their history could be traced back to a great Trojan hero named Aeneas. So what you're filling in right here is... we don't have the words underlined like we have before, but here we've got a great Trojan hero. That I'm going to, this doesn't,
There he is, great Trojan hero named Aeneas. And when the Greeks destroyed Troy in the Trojan War, they're saying that Aeneas fled with his followers to Italy. So we have two stories that we're going to hear about two legendary stories about how Rome got started. And the beginnings start with the Trojan War. And the Romans believed that one of their founding fathers, so to speak, he's not exactly their founding father, but one of their first people to be there came from Troy, that city over there, next to Ionia, which you can see it right over here where we talked about this little city before. And so if this is what's true, if they left there, then they would have traveled all the way through here after the Trojan War, and they came on around, and then they settled right here. So that's where Rome is. So that's the first story that you have about how Rome got started.
So Aeneas ended up marrying a local king's daughter and kind of settling in the area, and then, had lots of children and lived in the area for several hundred years in Italy. But the city of Rome comes from two very specific people, the brothers Romulus and Remus, and they were descendants of Aeneas. That means they were like his great-great-great-grandson. And remember, this is a legend, so we're not 100% sure when they lived, but we can kind of trace this back. So the story goes that Romulus and Remus were put into a basket and thrown into the Tiber River. And there's more to that story, but we're going to watch a video about it in class. They were put in by an evil, evil uncle. They didn't drown because they were rescued by a she-wolf, a female wolf, who took care of them. And so a lot of times when we see pictures of the founding of Rome, we see the wolf as a symbol of Rome. So Romulus and Remus decided to build a city to mark the spot where the wolf rescued them. And you know how siblings get. I always fought with my little sisters too. Remus ended up mocking one of Romulus's ideas. And in anger, Romulus killed Remus. So Romulus ended up building the city and naming it Rome after himself. So we've got the Romans tell a story about how their city was founded by somebody who was willing to kill his brother for power. Now, Rome had some early kings, but it's important to know here's Rome on the Tiber River. And that's this river that runs through Rome. And you see it kind of goes along like this. And this river is still there today. And Rome was built on 7 hills. And you can kind of see the hills in this picture. Right in Rome here, or right by the river, so that they were well protected. Now, as we mentioned, Romulus was the first king of Rome. In fact, that's where we get the name for Rome. Romulus, Rome. So if you're ever trying to remember which brother it was who was the first king of Rome, just remember that Romulus, the name Romulus, has Rome in it. Now, according to legend, 7 kings ruled after Romulus. The Etruscan culture, this early Roman culture, was heavily influenced by Greek colonies in Italy. Now, I want you to circle this word Etruscan, or highlight it, however, put a star by it. But it's important for us to know that those Etruscans, those people were the early Romans. Okay, so I'm going to put a star by it over here. All right. And they were influenced by those Greek colonies. So we see lots of cultural diffusion going on. Now, in 509 BCE, Roman nobles decided they didn't want to have kings anymore. This sounds pretty familiar to what we saw in Greece as well. So they overthrew the last king. He was a very, very cruel king, and so they decided they didn't want him around at all. So they created a new government called a republic. And in our next video, we're going to see what it means that the Roman government was a republic. Thanks for hanging on. I know these were a little bit different, guys, but we appreciate you, and we can't wait to see you in class and learn more all about Rome.